Good evening, and welcome to Critical Role. Oh, wait, I used that joke last week, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. All right, sorry. Can't use that again. Welcome to Lawfully Chaotic, Season 4, Episode 18. I am joined once again by my trusty cohort, Jason Baldrick of TTRPG Academy, the finest storyteller in all the realm.
Oh, that's so salty.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Oh my God, nobody's in chat. I forgot to put a thing up today. Let's see who
What a
pops
shock.
in first. It's
What a
either going to be Andy or
3 miles.
3 Miles, maybe Kristen.
Yeah, it could be.
But anyway, welcome. Thanks for watching after the fact or joining us if you happen to hop on. Got any announcements?
Yeah, August, I will be posting 2 Daggerheart tables.
Nice.
I'm all in, man. It's a cool system. I finished reading the book today. We had our Monday night 0 session with a group of 3, and we had a lot of fun creating characters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun.
What nights are those going to be, pray tell?
Well, our studio night is Monday night, so every Monday night at 7:00. Then the other one is going to be Saturday, and Friday are going to be the 2 game slots for.
What time Friday?
Friday probably 3 to 6 is going to be the Friday slot, and then Saturday probably going to be 11 to 2 on Saturdays. So
I so want to play.
And my Wednesday group, my Wednesday 3 to 6 group, they want to take a little break and play a little because they're going to be, it's busy. Like July and August is tough. There's a lot going on for people because of holidays. So there's going to be a couple people taking extended days. I've got one player who's actually going to be gone for 2 months. He's going to be gone for July and August. And we don't want him to miss too much of the main campaign. So it looks like we may do a 2-month Daggerheart campaign where we just play Daggerheart for 2 months with one person down. But we're thinking of having new people come on for the 2 months as well. A couple of the other players are going to be intermittent through the summer as well because they have commitments that they have to hold to for work. So we're going to, put together a 2-month campaign with a couple new players and probably not play every week, probably play every other week because of schedules. Summers are usually rough for me, but this year I'm okay with that because I've got so many projects at the ranch that I'm trying to stay ahead of that I can, and now that I'm not with RPG Club anymore, I can afford it. What a
my July is pretty much already just not shot to shit. I mean, but in terms of like game time, it's shot to shit. And then first week or week and a half in August.
Well, man, July 4th is next week.
I know.
Friday, 4th of July.
I don't know how it is for you, but in Chicago, I mean, our season, it has definitely shifted by like a month. Okay.
Yeah.
Summer usually for us realistically starts at like June 1st. And then, now we can expect, September is still hot. October's a toss up, and it's, it's very easily possible that October is still in the 60s, throughout the whole month, or even 70s. But man, like, we didn't really, the first 2 weeks of June were fucking horrible here. It was still like, around 50 or, under 55, and it was rainy and shit. So it literally feels like summer just started. And like, to your point, July 4th is.
Well, yeah, for Southern California, I mean, all the kids get out of school end of May, first week of June.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it doesn't feel like summer until 4th of July. When 4th of July kicks in, it's like, okay, summer's here, because we have a little tradition that we started a few years ago where we hang out in the front of the shop, in front of, the studio and the shop. There's a big giant park across the way from us called Valley Wide Park. And they do the city fireworks there. So when they do the fireworks, they close off the whole street by our shop.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, we come early.
So you have front row seats.
Front row seats, no crowd, nothing. We have to be here a little bit early before they close off the street. But we park. We prep all the food and we do all the fun stuff. And and then we're here until the fireworks over. And because we're at the shop, we can hang out. We got a bathroom.
Yeah,
we got our break room. We got, we got all the luxuries there.
We used to take the boat out for the fireworks because it's pretty cool on Lake Michigan. They shoot them off right downtown off of barges, right off of Monroe Harbor, which is right downtown Chicago. And if you get out there, not super early, but if you don't get out there last minute, you can get like front row, meaning it's flying like literally right over your head. But man, it is such a fucking amateur hour shit show. As soon as the fireworks start. First of all, this is way off topic for Lawfully Chaotic, but nobody knows how to set an anchor correctly. So everybody's drifting all over the place. Everybody's drinking, and as soon as the fireworks are done, you would think that it was the zombie apocalypse. Every fucking boat is motoring back, and it's just an absolute clusterfuck. So.
It's funny though, because it is a good topic, because it makes me wonder if everybody just assumes they'll have time to game in the summer, and then when summer arrives, they're like, oh, there's like a million other things.
Because here, nobody wants to be sitting inside in the summer because our summer is it's a short summer.
It's only 2 months, right? I mean, really, it's just July and August.
Realistically, yeah, because like I said, June can be a crapshoot. September generally is okay, but could be a crapshoot. So it's hard. I mean, my Wednesday night game, one of the guys is gone for 3 weeks. So yeah. Anyway, boy, it's quiet in here tonight.
They're saying your Twitch studio is down. That people are going to your Twitch link and nothing's happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm checking that.
Oh, I stopped using Twitch. I'll throw it up there. There. Now we're twitched.
Oh, that's right. You're just using what you're using.
I wanted to move everything over to YouTube. I probably should give it some time and actually direct people that way. So, my bad. I thought you and I were the last people left on Earth. Like it was. I Am Legend or something like that.
Weird.
Right, well, until somebody else joins us, I guess it's just you and me.
Well, it's like 3 Mile and Xander were both like channel says offline. So
there we go. Iberg's up.
Yeah.
Thank you. You win.
That's Xander. Yeah.
Channel is up now. Yeah. So. Xander, I was saying, I'm trying to move everything off of Twitch, although I guess I could leave it up there, but I'm trying to move everything over to YouTube, but I'll include Twitch from now
on. Going over to the YouTubes. You see over at the YouTubes, it's full of tubes at the YouTubes.
Yeah. So, not to repeat ourselves over the past 2 sessions or episodes, but I am falling in love with Daggerheart every single day.
Well, now that I've had some time to interact with it and remind myself why it was so much fun during the playtest, and I've been watching The Age of Umbra, and
same.
You can't help but watch a lot of the other people's reviews and stuff like that. And I guess I would say that watching other people's reviews of Daggerheart, a lot of people don't understand it. Like, a lot of people want those clicks and that clickbait, and they want to do that. They want to do that. The kind of the D&D killer compare conversation. I'm just like, what? that's purely a clickbait thing, and I get it.
I know.
That's the people that are doing that. That's why they do that.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I've mellowed a little because I don't have the fucking energy anymore for like everything to be a catastrophe or it's like Jesus Christ. Can we just get over it? D&D's not going to die. Nothing is ever going to kill it, period. Okay? Yeah, it's going through some growing pains right now because of a bunch of reasons that we all are familiar with, but big fucking deal. So here, try Daggerheart, play it for a while. And then when you're sick of that, then go back to D&D. It's like, whatever.
Or not and play
or
something
not.
else.
Yeah.
I mean, Ginny D did a great video. It was so nice to see her do a game video, like an actual game video about gaming. It was called I can't remember the name of it, but it was like it only has 3 rules. So it's an entire TTRPG that has basically 3 rules to play it. So she was, going through the idea that, there's obviously all this crunchy shit out there, but it's kind of fun when you come across a game that says, okay, here's your 3 pages to play this game. It's literally 3 pages.
Okay, I guess I'll leave Twitch on for now because,
Well, I published the YouTube link in Discord. They obviously have addictions, so
All right. Well, I'll leave Twitch. I'm
trying
to
itch that
from Twitch. I'm Lovely Chaotic's not going anywhere, but Lovely Chaotic Studios, the Instagram channel, I'm not really curating that, and Twitch.
YouTube is the devil.
Everything is the devil. That's the devil or the devil you know. So take your pick. But it was a game. I don't know if it was a game or it was an adventure, and the name struck me. It was the Kobold Ate My Baby.
Oh my god, that's hysterical.
And I should have looked into it further, but I clicked on it just as I was running away from my desk to go do something. So I don't know if it was an adventure or a whole new game, but are most people other than the clickbait trolls are I haven't really looked into much of what people are saying about Daggerheart. I'm just kind of about halfway done with the book, and I am current on I am loving Age of Umbra, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I guess like Bob the World Builder, he always does pretty good stuff. And then there's that British dude who did an interesting review. And there's kind of like those folks that are mid-tier influencers that still get views over time.
D&D Short, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, D&D Short.
Yeah,
he did a review.
Good.
But he's super obsessed with D&D, so I don't know if he could really be as biased as he'd like to be.
But overall, are people liking it, or are people just looking for things to pick apart?
I think most people are liking it. I would say he's very niche. Because he's very he's D&D Shorts is very much
he really gets into the weeds on like character builds and spell.
To me, he's like the 5th edition of Jordafan. If you ever watch Jordafan, he is very much the traditional reviewer of D&D, and Forgotten Realms does a good job on lore. I mean, there's no excuse and no shortage of people out there sharing content. Like if someone comes up to me and says, well, how do I find out about this? I'm like, well, how do you find out about how to, water your patio plants? Or, if you're Google searching something or you're YouTube searching something, there's no shortage of places you could go to find stuff out. But some have been there were a couple that I think really were a swing and a miss on the intent of the game. And there were quite a few that were just mid-tier, that they gave it a review. And I think the concerns I think people had doing reviews of it, that the open licensing in Daggerheart is a little wonky. It's not as friendly as you'd like it to be. So
I haven't looked into it yet, but I thought that it was supposed to be pretty.
No, there's some verbiage in there that's very specific about what you can and can't do. That could be a little confusing to people. Like they don't want you just freely using the Daggerheart name. It's like if you want to create something for Daggerheart, there's very specific wording that you have to copy paste, into your stuff that you make. Included with the Daggerheart system or made for the Daggerheart system. Like it's very simple, but it's very specific, and they want you to copy and paste it from their licensing before you publish it or present videos or present.
Okay, so what is their stance though with ownership? Because that was the whole thing about the OGL, with WotC and stuff. Is like,
as far as that's concerned, that's fine. I mean, they published a license and they publish separate content that you're allowed to use. So it was pretty straight. I think some people were just hoping that they'd be more free, if that's a phrase. Can you be more free? I don't know. I mean, I've barely even want to mention it because when you go to the Daggerheart website now, Daggerheart website is so prime for being something very big. They've built an infrastructure for the game to not only to support the game as it exists, but they built a community called Into the Void, where it's a player test community where you can play test everything that they're about to errata publish or sub-publish or release. And they also built a thing called the Card Creator. So you can create your own cards if you want to. And it's pretty boss. It's nice. I would imagine
that is very freedom isn't free at cost. I would imagine that there are grand plans for it in terms of content.
Hopefully,
as well, there should be. I mean,
there better be because
it is a D&D killer.
Well, it's not, but I think
I'm joking.
I think they have to align themselves with online play. Online play isn't going away. If anything, it's going to continue to grow. And right now, it's not super easy to play online. I mean, you can head over to Demi-Plane, where a lot of the content's online there.
So I actually purchased that. I actually bought a sub on Demi-Plane, and I purchased that digital pack for that card. So that tells you, for me to purchase another subscription or something, that tells you how much.
Yeah, I mean, I personally won't do that anymore because the pricing model over at Demi-Plane is just too severe on the tax. It's like, for me to move my platform over there was going to cost everyone an extra $5 a month, or $5 a seat to play.
Well, you and I are very different in terms of our needs for a VTT.
True.
System. Yeah. I don't blame you for that. But I was like, it was $35 to buy Daggerheart. Even though I thought it was supposed to come with a PDF, but I couldn't for the life of me figure out where to download that PDF.
Yeah, that's part of my problem with.
I bought the deluxe edition, and now I have 2 sets of core edition because I ordered one from Amazon, and then I got impatient, so I went to my local game shop and I bought another one. So now I have 3 copies of the game. And, I still bought the digital pack. But I will say that if you are looking for a VTT, that's probably the way to go, because I think the PDF that comes with the book, if you can figure out how to get it.
Well, I thought they had an electronic character generator on Demi-Plane for it.
So the PDF that comes with the book, and that's another reason that I was like, fuck it, I'm impatient, and also it's my local game shop, so yeah, whatever, I bought another copy. The PDF that comes with the book supposedly is just it's just a PDF of the rules. Demi-Plane is basically their version of D&D Beyond. The character builder works really well. I haven't played with it yet, but I did create a full character. There were no bugs at all. The book, the digital version that you get with Demiplanes pack is more like D&D Beyond, where it's indexed and searchable and all that stuff. So it is different than just a traditional straight up PDF of a rule book.
Right.
So, like I said, it was another $35, and it's like $5 or $4 a month if you do annual for the subscription. And so whatever.
Right.
I will say though that one thing just kind of irked me, and like I was looking, so I was trying to figure out how to download the PDF, okay, and I couldn't figure that out. And it's like, oh, but also go to Demiplane and Nexus, and you can also go to Drive-Thru RPG, and yada yada yada. And I'm like, once again, it's so fucking difficult to figure out. Like, I just want to play Daggerheart, or I want to play X online. What do I need to do? And it took me like 45 minutes to figure out which fucking package I need to buy, because there's this one and there's this one. It's kind of like Games Workshop does that with 40K. Whenever they come out with rules updates, they don't just call it like 10th edition errata 1 or blah blah blah. It's like there's the data cards, and then there's the army cards or whatever the fuck it is, and like nobody knows what the hell the latest version is. And I kind of feel like that is on purpose with Games Workshop. I want to believe that with Critical Role it's not.
Right.
But that shit kind of makes me feel like it's done intentionally to confuse you into redundant purchases.
It can. I mean, especially with Games Workshop, because they kind of excel at trying to, by the way, we know you just spent $1,200 on this beautiful orc army, but we're retiring that codex, and here's the new codex.
Exactly. Hey, exactly my point. So I was just it was a little bit of frustration, because it took me much longer than it should have to figure out what do I need to buy to play this like D&D Beyond.
So it seems like the Demiplane Nexus Daggerheart character sheet is free to use, because I don't have a subscription.
It is free to use. So it is, in that regard, it is similar to D&D Beyond, where if you have the basic free,
where you just sign up,
sign up.
Yeah.
You can make up to 7 characters. This is for Demiplane.
Yeah.
You can make up to 7 characters, and you cannot share content. That's totally fine. That's totally cool. You know what is kind of shitty though? You can make 7 characters, but about a third of the content is locked until you actually pay for it. Like, I was creating a character, 3 of the classes were locked out. So I picked, I wanted to build a sorcerer, which wasn't locked out, but then half the weapons were locked out. So again, kind of a shitty move, either allow a certain number of free, characters, or just don't, that bullshit, because it's really not usable for free, like they say it is.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I'm like, like none of the domains are available.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. So in a way, like I said, I was a little bit frustrated, because I again, that just goes back to, are you being transparent with your audience? And I don't feel like that is. It feels just kind of shifty.
Because I went to go click on ancestry name. There's no ancestry card to pick.
Exactly, right. So that's why I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I know I like this game. I know I'm gonna buy it anyway. So I just went ahead.
Interesting.
But once you pay for the subscription and you pay for the pack for the game, it is like D&D Beyond, where it's unlimited characters, and you can share content with people that are playing in your campaign. So this is the first time I've used Demiplane. The character builder seems to be, it seems to work really well. I don't think it's quite as robust as D&D Beyond, but I can't accurately make that claim yet, because I haven't actually played. I think D&D Beyond has a little bit more functionality, but in character building, and I was in and out of the builder, a bunch of times, and back and forth with the rules, it seemed there were no bugs. It wasn't glitchy at all. So
right.
if you want to play Daggerheart online, just fucking buy it on Demiplane.
Yeah, it seems to be the way
Moral
to go. Yeah, it does. Because if I hit the subscribe now button, well, I mean, really, unlimited characters for $5 a month ain't that bad.
If you do annual, it's $3.90. It's $4 a month if you do annual. So no, it really isn't.
You know, the problem why I struggle with that annual purchase. Who's to say they're going to be there all year? Who's to say their company is going to last? See, I hate that annual thing because it prescribes the idea that nothing could possibly ever go wrong, and you should pay us a year's worth of your money now. Yeah, and the assumption is we're going to be there for you the whole year. And I'm like, well, that's an assumption.
Or you stop playing and you forget about it. And no, I so for the non-annual, it's $1 more. So yeah, it's $5 a month. So it's really not that bad. I mean, it's still cheaper. Well, wait a minute. It's a little bit, if you don't do the annual, it's a little bit more expensive than D&D Beyond. If you do the annual, it's about the same or slightly less.
Right. But it does seem to allow you to share like everything. Like you can bring in other players on that.
Like I said, you can do so like now that I have the core pack, I'm assuming that I can share that with people that I invite.
Well, you're assuming.
Can do. Well, again, I haven't practiced yet. No, but it specifically says you can share content. So I'm assuming that it is basically the same functionality as D&D Beyond in that regard. So any book that I buy, I can share with people that I invite into my campaigns.
Interesting.
So
I subscribed, and I still don't see a place to. Okay, there is a permissions thing, so you can.
Well, now, to my knowledge, you still have to buy the digital version of Daggerheart, the $35 digital pack or whatever.
Right.
Or maybe that's just for the sharing. Maybe since you subscribe, you can use their character builder for free. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't delved into it that deeply yet. For my purposes, I just said fuck it and I bought it. So.
Well, and that's I'm looking. Oh yeah, no, you have to buy the core for $34.99.
That's
so they're very much like there was another system, another platform that does it this way as well. It's like. I mean, still, the core digital rules, which is basically probably an agreement that Demiplane made with Darrington Press. It said, "Hey, we'll license you our PDF copy. That's a digital copy that you can put in your digital platform and do with whatever you want with that digital license and digital content. You just can't sell the core book because you have to, core book follows certain rules." But if you don't want to pay the $75 or $76 for the core book, I mean, you get it for half price at Demiplane.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. You still have the option of not buying the hardcover and just buying the digital. I mean, you guys know me. I'm going to do both because that's me.
And it does say cross-device access, so
it is. There's no app. It is web-based, which is good and bad. I prefer an app just for continuity. Although some would argue,
this still, I mean, for digital players who enjoy D&D Beyond's ease of use, because I mean, D&D Beyond, I mean, it is they've finally gotten their shit together to a point that. If there's something on your character sheet and you click it, you get all the information about what you just clicked. It just comes up.
Demiplane does that too. That's why you're not just buying a PDF, you're buying the cross-linking of everything on your character sheet. And they've got tool tips. It's actually a really nice character sheet. I imagine that once I start playing with it, it will match D&D Beyond, I think, in that regard.
But it is interesting. Like when we were creating Daggerheart characters on Monday, their character sheets are pretty simplistic. The only real crunch that occurs on the character sheet is clarifying the proficiency, because your proficiency brain is thick in D&D versus what Daggerheart's proficiency is and what its purpose is for. That can get a little weird because your brain is in two places. And then, of course, the meat of your character is your domain choices that you make.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the real power of your character is built into those domain cards.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun creating experiences, because, and we followed the step-by-step instructions in the book for how to build your character. So we went through the steps, and by the time you got to step 9, you're like, okay, these actually all make sense. Like building a D&D character, there's actually no instructions for that other than what you see in D&D Beyond, which is just a lattice work of linear choices that you're making.
Yes.
But typically, if you're doing a 0 session, you're kind of bouncing back and forth.
Yes.
In a lot of those options. I think with the way that you do attributes, the attribute system in Daggerheart, you're less in Daggerheart, you literally pick your class first before you do anything else. You pick your class. It's like the very first thing you do.
Which is what everybody does. I don't know anybody in D&D who starts with, maybe you start with race first, but it's like, oh, I think I want to play a rogue this time. I mean, that's the natural starting place.
Yeah, but I mean, but then you have to go into the D&D Beyond and
start messing.
Okay, what's the minimum requirement for a rogue? Okay, well, I've got to, no matter what, my 2 attribute scores have to be this high for a rogue to exist. And Daggerheart gets rid of all that. There's none of that exists.
I think for character creation, I agree. I think that's the biggest adjustment, but I think it's a positive one because you don't feel, to your point, you don't feel as beholden to those scores just because of the way the mechanics work. What I'm realizing in watching Age of Umbra and in building a character is the currency system is just fucking phenomenal, and I don't mean the actual currency, because I actually have a problem with handful of coins versus actual money count. That's one of my nitpicky things, but the currency of spending stress, spending hope.
Yeah. Resource management.
It's just like the way the resource management works, it takes all of the impetus off of those scores, and it allows you, I think, to just build to have more freedom in playing a character the way you want to play it. Again, getting back to I want to play a wizard with a sword. Daggerheart.
Yeah, go ahead and be a wizard with a sword. Yeah.
I mean,
there's a big pivot is in hit points. Hit points are super low in this game. Which is huge because even Matt and some of the other players have said, we just don't like doing math. And when you get up to level 10, that's all you're doing is math once you're at level 10.
I just love it because it one of my beefs about D&D is the god level hit points. It's just, it takes the realism and the fun out, and it takes the fear out of it. And that's another thing. Even the currency of, you have your evasion, and then if that goes through, you have the choice of knocking your armor down. And then I think the hit point, the damage mechanics are phenomenal. Me personally, and I think probably, this is fair to say for most people, I think the biggest adjustment is the lack of initiative and the spotlighting, and people getting used to sharing and taking and giving the spotlight and working as a group. And making that adjustment from having a rigid, initiative order,
right,
and kind of having that structure. At face value, I like it, but I think it is going to be a big adjustment. I know it will be for me because, again, it's geared toward a more mature table, but I think they did a really good job in balancing.
I think they're very specific. I mean, they want you to be a storytelling table. And I think the initiative adjustment is very much in alignment with that. I know one of the common themes in the reviews I was reading and watching on the different channels is how the concern with the initiative method would be that if you're a timid player, you may not feel like jumping in. But I argue the opposite. I think it takes away so many boundaries that timid players feel more kind of currency and feel more licensed to jump in, because if they jump in, it doesn't break anything. Like, the initiative round system in D&D is kind of breaks what people are trying to do, because if you're in the bottom of the row, if you're in that bottom line and you've got this great idea you want to pull off, and then 3 players later it turns to shit, it would have been super cool had they all been able to agree to it at the time that the idea came up. And I think that's what Daggerheart's initiative system does. Its lack of initiative system, it's either the GM's turn or it's the player's turn, the multiplayer's turn. That way they can actually freely talk to each other and decide on what to do. There's no little sand timer flipping going, hey, you better hurry up. Well, when you have 3 or 4 people openly discussing what they want to do, you actually find that it moves a lot faster than you'd expect. And people are doing a lot more than what you'd expect.
I can see the point. I do agree. I do agree with the statement that timid players or shy players, may have a harder time with that. I can see that, because it is more incumbent. What the initiative structure does is it's like, okay, now it's your turn. What do you do? And if you're a timid player, you're like, well, I shoot my bow. I missed. Okay, I'm done.
Well, actually, that's not what Daggerheart's initiative structure is at all.
I understand. I'm saying no. I'm saying with D&D, with an initiative.
Yeah.
It forces that person to take their turn, however timidly they want to do that. But with Daggerheart, it's incumbent upon them to jump in and say, I want to do this. But I will say
it promotes good meta.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it promotes good meta.
The theory is sound. I can see why people say that could be a stumbling block, but that should be overcome by the GM. A good GM should recognize if one player is kind of not feeling like they have the spotlight enough, or not going after the spotlight enough, and the GM should say, hey, John, what about you? What do you feel like doing? What do you feel like? So I understand the concern, but again, I think that it's just solved.
And you're right. Watching a group of players who've been playing together for 20, 25 years is not always a good example of what your expectation should be. Exactly. Because a brand new table with brand new people in a brand new environment, a brand new game mechanic is definitely going to be a little bit stressful and a little bit overwhelming to those folks. So
I do think this game is geared towards a more advanced. We've talked about this. I think it's geared towards a more mature table, but especially I do think it is geared towards a little bit more of an advanced GM. Because I think it is more incumbent on the GM to make sure that the system runs smoothly.
One of the things, though, that I've noticed about Daggerheart, when I was reviewing, the character creation with the players, and then the real intelligent guides that they've built for both players and GMs to use as a method to practice the game. And something I know it's kind of minor, but I want to point it out in the book because it's something that I like to call myself the index generation. Mm-hmm. When you look at the edges of the paper, you can see everything's color coded. Yeah. Right. And when you go to the table of contents for this book, it's chapter 1, preparing for the adventure, chapter 2, playing an adventure, chapter 3, running an adventure. If you just read those 3 chapters, you're good. You're fine. You're going to have a great time. Everything.
Shattering concept.
Chapter 4 is adversaries and environment. Like chapter 4 and 5. I mean, this is, people are going to go, well, 185 pages to play a game. I said, well, that's not any different than Pathfinder, D&D, and a lot of the other popular games that are out there. Shadow Dark, once again, as much as I can appreciate the fandom of Shadow Dark, and I can appreciate the nostalgia of Shadow Dark, make no misconception. Shadow Dark is a game I've already played when I was 9 years old. It is a nostalgia-based game. It's original D&D, oversimplified to the point where there's absolutely nothing new for me to learn from that game. There's nothing new. The magic system is already borrowing from a common theme that people are trying to get to with magic systems, which is roll to cast. I mean, if D&D were to change to a roll to cast system and get rid of spell slots, I think they would explode. I think the D&D universe would absolutely love that and would explode over that idea of getting away from spell slot systems. But Shadow Dark's a very small book. It's not a lot to it. It's easy to read, easy to play. To me, it feels like a dungeon crawl grind is what it feels like. And when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, that's what I used to play when I was 9, 10, and 11, 12. Guess what? I don't want to play that way anymore.
Played like that. Oh, Tomb of Horrors. It's a dungeon that's going to take 2 years to get through. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, but when you look at this book and the way that they've parsed it out and organized it, it is very easy to read. And Pathfinder is very hard for me to read. Pathfinder is 652 pages, and there's no, I'm probably undercounting the pages, but there's no indexing. There's no table of contents that makes sense. It feels like you have to jump from chapter 3 to chapter 7 to get a clarification on chapter 2.
That's D&D books.
Yeah, D&D was very much like that too, where you're kind of jumping around. Even with the new 2024, you can see where they streamlined it a lot better than. See, the funny thing is 2024 streamlines everything a lot better than 3.5 and 4E. But if you compare 5E to 2024, there's not much difference between the two other than the cleaning up of some rules, giving people a lot more bonus actions to do. There's not that big of a difference. And, that's
my point. The book is still not late. I mean, we're so familiar with it. It's like, okay, I know where to go to find weapons.
And D&D is 3 books and Daggerheart is 1 book. So you can play Daggerheart with 1 book.
Speaking of that, I really, really want a Daggerheart monster manual.
Well, Daggerheart. Well, here's the thing. This is another thing that proves that they're better at what they do. D&D has lost the community for so long that anytime the community feels involved, it feels more like torture than participation. But Daggerheart has put the infrastructure of community into their game. So it's so easy to build an adversary template for their tier system of creatures. I don't fucking need a Daggerheart monster book.
Like, I can't play this game until there's a monster.
No, I know what you're saying. I don't care. Like, I don't need
Matt's
one.
brain comes up with like, I just want that book.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you're going to get that in errata. I mean, I'm hoping they're going to go the trend of the digital zines, where zines are like, that's the one thing I like about Shadow Dark. They started up the whole zine thing and really got the zine thing running. And that's nostalgia too, Dragon Magazine, Dungeon Magazine, White Dwarf Magazine, all of that third-party creatorship that came in these magazine publications. I'm very nostalgic for that stuff because you could find very interesting nuggets of useful, content in those environments for sure. So yeah, I would wholly expect, if you go to the Daggerheart website, if you go to the Void and if you go to the community, their Discord is bumping. I mean, their Discord is huge.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The Void is really cool, man, because like they just introduced the Witch class. So you can play test the witch class, which is Domain Hedge and Domain Moon. They introduced the assassin class, which is Midnight
Holy
and
shit!
Blade.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they introduced
domains also.
Yeah, and they introduced new ancestries and new communities. They've got a new version for the Warlock. They've got a new version for the Brawler.
There is no Warlock.
There is in the Void. That's where you go and get it all in the Void. Yeah.
Man.
So you can click on.
I've been consumed with watching Age of Umbra and reading the book. I haven't even visited the website. Like now, I know what I'm doing after the show.
So like now they're playtesting Duneborn, Freeborn, Frostborn, Reborn, Hearthborn, and Warborn, and they're also playtesting Earthkin, Tidekin, Emberkin, Skykin, Aetheris, and Gnome. So there's like 6 new races that they're going to.
Oh my god! I'm gonna have to create a character.
Well, yeah, I mean but see, to me, that's the community pulse that D&D has forgotten. Yeah. I mean, D&D made their playtesting so torturous and so like uncreative. Like here's
the feedback too.
Yeah, here's a big bloated PDF file that we purposely made big and bloated so that you won't read it and you'll just spam all the radial dials for your agreements and then we'll just do whatever the fuck we want. There's one thing that Critical Role has always been fantastic about is recognizing their community. Hopefully that never changes because they are so invested in that. Another thing that they have going for them, which is amazing, is the fucking show. Right? Learning how to play. And you could go, to your point, you can go on YouTube and you could find a million videos of how to play D&D and groups playing D&D and whatnot. But when you take a powerhouse that is Thursday Night Critical Role and it is entertaining you with a campaign based in this rule set, while at the same time teaching you how to play, that's fucking huge. D&D cannot claim that to that degree. Yeah, like their community Discord is the Darrington Press Discord. Yeah. And then, of course, that Discord has Daggerheart, Candela Obscura, Queen by Midnight, Ukatoa, Tal'Dorei Reborn, Till the Last Gasp. So they have, specific dedicated Discord channels to the games that they have out so that you can... talk to a community about that. And they're looking at community feedback that, appears in that as well. So, I mean, nothing is ever truly going to be a D&D killer. It doesn't exist. It won't ever exist because D&D died multiple times only to come back from the dead. I mean, we all know this. The great, you can get there's documentaries galore out there about the collapse of the TSR company.
D&D is part of the culture. It is part of our popular culture. It is. Yeah. There is no such thing as a D&D killer.
Yeah, and I would say 50 years from now, there may be no such thing as a Daggerheart killer. I mean, every game could have that opportunity.
Sure.
Every game could attain that mantle. And
to be fair, though, nobody has yet, other than D&D.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
no.
I think Pathfinder built on a 20
with your name on it.
Yeah, Pathfinder built a pretty good 15-year culture around Pathfinder.
Yeah,
my son stopped playing D&D. He only plays Pathfinder. And there's a growing youth culture that finds D&D to be boomerish. They find it to be not playable because it represents the idea of boomerish ideals. So they're shifting to other games. And I can't really argue with that because D&D is a structured framework of specific rules that tell you what to do.
You know what, though? You know what? And this is where my head is at lately. I'm so far beyond that. Yeah, I'm still going to complain. You're still going to see the rant cam. But I just, overall, I've just realized, like, It is that because people are forcing it to be that in their minds. It's a fucking game. Enjoy it. Stop trying to create controversy over it.
But you have to create controversy. This is a
why?
Because
boomerish ideals. That is an invented concept. You are making it that. It is a fantasy game.
Oh,
be as fun.
No, boomerish ideals are a real problem in this world, and then they exist. Now, people are using labels to create their own conversations.
They do exist, but so. there are many channels in our lives where they exist, where they have no business existing. But they because people force the issue. I'll say it again. We're talking about games. It's a fucking game. Okay?
I would say Star Trek's been around the Star Trek game's been around for a long time. I would also say that there are a lot of TTRPGs, RPGs, Shadowrun, BattleTech. BattleTech lore is just as deep and interesting as D&D lore.
Most people who are not avid gamers don't know that BattleTech was a role-playing game. They just think it is a tabletop war game.
Right.
Well, that there aren't other games that are extremely popular. Nothing has reached the level of D&D.
That's because nothing's ever tried, and to me, the journey of trying. I think of all of them out there, I think Daggerheart has the most unique nuances to offer.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
especially with the idea that you build the world together as a group. Yeah. And what was really funny is on our Monday night studio group for Daggerheart, I already had an idea in mind, but I wanted the group's input on, did they want post-apocalyptic, pre-apocalyptic? Did they want high fantasy, low fantasy? We talked about the themes and the ideas that they wanted. Well, I had already started working on an homage to Gamma World. So the Monday world I got to build with their courtesy and their help. Basically, it's a take on the Shannara books, the Sword of Shannara, and the whole Shannara series books.
I remember those, yeah.
And a take on Gamma World, where World War III occurs, and when all the nuclear bombs go off, they tear dimensional doors open, and then over many millennia, different planes of existence, in this case the mortal plane, these doors remained open, and people wandered into this world. Orcs and gnomes and elves wandered into this world, but the lore of that is so ancient that the people only know the truth of the now, and all of their past is mythos and superstition. That way, mythos and superstition doesn't lock you down into anything specific, but yet the core lore that you got to build is, well, they're starting in a little community called New Sea. And they, it started off with this ancient Galapa reading the portents and the signs. And basically he's standing in the lattice work of the Statue of Liberty, but they don't know it's called that.
That's
right.
Awesome.
His journey to the community of New Sea, he crossed a bridge, this old bridge that no one knows who built it. They assume that somebody by the name of Brooke built the bridge, because BROOK is still in stone, and still barely legible, right? So I get to create this really cool post-apocalyptic New York theme, but because I'm only concerned about the material or the mortal realm, I could say that the apocalypse created doorways in the mortal realm that people over millennia wandered to this strange world and settled here, either fleeing disasters of their own, looking for new lives, looking for a new start, and they've settled into this little place called New Sea. And because I'm familiar with the Northeast, I can have a lot of fun with that. The secret ancient vault that they're going to have to deal with is an old nuclear power station in New York that they have to deal with,
Federal Reserve Bank or something.
And that nuclear power station has created all these adversaries, these mutagenics and mutations that wander that area. But superstition and myth says that every 100 years, a thing called the void exposes a place called the veil. And if that void isn't destroyed, the veil becomes, a dangerous place, and the veil can overtake the mortal realm. So it's a journey. It's the hero's journey that I get to play out. So you've got the literature of the hero's journey. You've got Gamma World ideals, and then you've got the kind of a little bit of the mythos of Shannara, the Shannara book series. And when you look at their method that way, it's easier for me because I'm a seasoned GM and I like to create that way. But because their framework guides you in those possibilities and those ideas, I mean, content's unlimited. It's unlimited content, which proves, the D&D 5e system was having some success with being translated to other gaming fantasies. I mean, Star Wars 5e is actually pretty fucking dope. I'd love to run a table, but I can't seem to find enough people that want to play. But Star Wars 5e is just genius. They did a great job of applying a very difficult rule system to Star Wars fantasy. But I could take Daggerheart. I could easily take Daggerheart's core system, which is their attribute, hope and fear system. And guess what else they use that everyone now uses constantly? It's the difficulty check system is here to stay. Yes. And that DC system is now a core pillar of everybody's game development. It's there permanently because it works.
I think you bring up an important point is, there have been a lot of awesome games out there. Like you said, you said Shadowrun or GURPS or, Gamma World or Star Trek or whatever. And all of them,
Traveler,
and all of them either we've kind of made this determination. All of them either had really good lore or a really good system. Very few had both, other than D&D. And people again would argue D&D is not a good system, but again, it's been around for 50 fucking years. Okay?
Yeah, it's a good system. It works. Yeah. And when you can release entire worlds within that system, like Forgotten Realms, Faerun itself is a 35-year-old world. So it's like,
but if there's anything that could attain the level of D&D, I think Daggerheart has a pretty good shot at it because the mechanics are very thoughtful and a reaction to what people are wanting currently in a role-playing game. The framework is there, as you said, it's built in to create a framework for new worlds. And not only that, you've got the mind of Matt Mercer and the whole creative team over there that will give you this really rich lore. So we're finally getting a system that kind of has everything. And it's not to say that there aren't other good ones coming out, like Cosmere or DC-20 potentially or whatever.
Like a streamlined book, an interested in card enthusiasts who like cards, and a very community-driven system. So it's like that's the triad, right? The rule of three always works, right? Simple book, pull in new audiences with the cards, and make sure your community is driving your development. And I mean that's huge.
Anything could attain the level of D&D, I think.
And this is how you know that it's made by people who read books. The core book has a bookmarker built into it.
Yeah, I know.
People are like, well, you're all getting all hard about that. I said, believe it or not, no one will ever complain about the absence of these, but when they see it, they will go, thank God it's back because this really helps me. And there's two of them.
How many times do you open the player's handbook to the armor and weapons pages?
And there's two of them. So maybe I want to mark my adversaries page, and maybe I want to mark a domain page. I don't want to fold my corner. I don't want to.
I fully back you on that.
It's just crazy. The little things. It's the little things that really suck you in, man. They really do.
Yeah.
Well, shit, we did it. We absolutely killed an hour talking about nothing.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to play this.
I may just come in and work with Ben and teach him how to play Daggerheart. I may do a teach me session. So
Sunday,
yeah.
Oh,
I'll ask him. Like post your schedule first, and then I'll ask him if he's open to that. But on that note, I will not be available next Thursday. I'm taking Thursday and Friday off since Friday's the 4th of July, and I'm making it my official 2-day weekend of doing nothing but working on the ranch, swimming, barbecuing, hanging out, and watching the fireworks. And all that
we may take a break then. By the way, I think I have a call with Ivan scheduled for Monday.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see what that nets. But maybe we will take a break next week. Maybe Kristen and I will jump on. Maybe I'll paint. Reach out
to Game Master Mom. Reach out. I mean, we've had 4 or 5 different people on. Plus you've got this slot you could use for a painting session too, where you could have Andy on, and you and him could shoot the shit and run the paint. By the way, in the Discord, can you send me the content block that you want in your short reels? Because I made 6 short reels out of your painting session, but I have to be able to put something in the description block to kind of guide people to a schedule when you're going to do it and all that. So we're figuring
that out. It's not going to be weekly because I know I'm not going to be able to keep up with that. So it'll either be every second or third week. Paintingly chaotic.
Well, try and give me some kind of just general description then that I can put into those empty fields. Because right now the descriptions are empty because I don't know what to put in there. I don't want to make any presumptions. So
I got you. I did generate the clips from the AI, but I neglected to post them yet. And
we're still alive. Hey, Brian, where can we find you?
You can find me.
Nobody's interested in our housekeeping garbage.
Exactly. Like, shut the fuck up. You can find me as always at RPG&Co at Instagram and YouTube. Visit the website at playrpgandco.com. But Instagram is usually the best place to find me. Shoot me a DM. I love talking about game stuff. I love, you want some advice on painting or GMing or whatever, in as much as I'm able to give it, I'm more than happy to shoot the shit. So hit me up. What about you, Jason?
You can find me over at ttrpgacademy.life, which is the website. I'm trying to refer more people to that because I'd like to get 2 more tables opened up. I also do educational sessions as well. So I've got seat tickets and slots available for, if you want to learn how to play D&D, I'm going to offer up Daggerheart. Or if you just want to learn how to be a good all-around GM and how to be a digital GM and the platforms that can help you build your toolbox and all of those fun things. Otherwise, you can find all of my links at Linktree TTRPG Academy. That's got all my links in there. And join us on the Discord. We try to have conversations there, but I think people are busy right now. It's the summer, and
summer's
there's a lot. There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
for sure.
But on that note, thank you, those of you.
TPK.
Warpgate, you joined us in IG. I did see you there. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us or watching after the fact. Tell a story, Jason.
Play a game.
And most importantly, please remember, always be kind.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.